Hello viewers, Super GT here, welcome to the video. So in this race, we are going to head to Brands Hatch in Group 1 cars. Yeah. Whoever came up with that idea, I do not know. But I think they're going to have to come up with some new sportsmanship ratings below E. Because I think that's how far it's going to dive. Probably all the way down to X, Y and Z. So then, here we are on the grid, and yes, in the background, that is me flashing my lights. Deal with that as we sit in third place. Here we go then. So, off the line we go now. Let's get this race underway. 16 laps around Brands Hatch, the full circuit in LMP1 cars, or it's in Group 1, but everyone is pretty much using the Porsche 919 here. And Croatian guy already very wide into Druids at the top of the hill. But then just settling back in ahead. I've just tapped him slightly as he came back across in the braking zone. As we go down Cooper Straight into Surtees, the inside line, again a bit of contact. It's hard to kind of brake for that corner because it's kind of a curved braking zone, which is quite difficult to do. And all of a sudden, I don't know where he got that speed boost from. I think the guy behind him must have smashed into the back of him. So he seemed to have just come out of nowhere. Perhaps he's got the Too Fast, Too Furious nitrous oxide button and 5,000 gears, but he's got through back into second somehow. So the Spaniard behind us, Spaniard in the lead, and me on the grass. There we go, nice one, into the gravel as well, just for good measure. Get reset. I was that far wide, I got sent back in time like the Terminator. So then down into 8th, a familiar kind of theme developing within my videos. Qualify fairly well, but then just be absolutely stupid at the beginning, make a mistake, go down and then try and catch everyone back up again. So consistency is lacking, shall we say, as we try to fight our way back through the field. So plenty of guys here. The Spaniard fishtailing violently on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. I've punted the Frenchman here. I'll kind of back off to let him go ahead. Coming down the hill. And the Spaniard is going to punt me wide. I'm on the never-ending grass. I've been sent to Narnia and hit the tyre barrier in Narnia. And it's taken me, well, about 10 years to get back onto the track. Well then, down into 12th. Not a great start. Not a great start at all. So plenty of work now to be done. So not only once leaving the circuit, but twice, just to make it really hard for myself. But at least we can practice overtaking, I suppose. See what we can do then. The first place guy already with the fastest lap, although it's already been one lap, so what am I talking about? That guy's off. Before I way past this Spaniard on the exit. It's really difficult around here. LMP1 cars fairly large. Brands Hatch isn't a huge circuit, not particularly wide. Can be difficult to pass around here. I mean, you're looking for people to make mistakes, really. It can be quite hard to get a run on people if you're in exactly the same car. So looking up the inside, not quite going to go for it. Not sure I really had to, as he goes quite wide. A little bit of contact halfway through. But up the hill, I'm on the inside. He tried to outbrake me on the outside. He can't really do that there. And he has failed to do it. Up into 10th. You see a couple of guys just immediately ahead of us. A couple of French guys. One of which has a penalty. And, well, no. Yeah, two of which have a penalty. He's actually run around the corner as well. He's just going to drive himself straight off the track. Up into 9th. Now on the back of this Frenchman. See how we can go about getting past him. So this section of circuit here is very difficult to pass. You don't really have very long braking zones. You've got quite fast sweeping corners. It can be very difficult to pass around this type of corner. So on the exit here, people do often make mistakes. You can go on the inside here into Sterling's, which we're going through now, but he doesn't quite make that mistake. So even if you're a little bit quicker than the guy ahead, if he positions his car in the correct kind of position, it can be very difficult. And I just go into the back of him there, so I lose all my momentum crucially. Going down the main straight, and I don't quite get alongside. I can kind of just cover the inside line, make him, kind of go into a mistake, but he doesn't really make that mistake. He's going defensive very early in the race. Clearly wants to keep that 8th position, so I'm going to have my work cut out here if I want to make some progress back through the field. Again, another tap. He's going very defensive. It's very hard to get past him. Very slow on the apex. I'm going to try and be as patient as possible as we've I've pretty much been stuck behind him for a lap now. Where is that mistake going to come? There it is. It just gives me an opening on the exit. He actually backs off because I think he knew that he was going to get past. Skipping a lap then, lap 5, and we've caught up to 7th and 6th place. There's a German just ahead around the corner, and oh, I just kind of pushed him off. He went wide on the grass, slowed down a little bit, and I got caught out. I'm going to console myself by saying that he was going off anyway, but I only get a 3-second penalty, so you know, go around murdering people in real life and you only get sentenced to 3 seconds in prison. Could be worse, you know, could be worse. So over the line, beginning of lap 6, diving down the inside, a little bit of contact, but we're through, and no penalty this time around. So aggressive GT has come out to play, no more caution being shown here. I suppose if I want to get anything out of this race I need to be aggressive. So this South African has some sort of accident, slowing down, and he just recovers in time to stay ahead of me through the final corner, looking for that inside line. There it is. He takes a poor line basically through that final turn. Got the inside into turn 1, a little bit deep on the brakes. Is he going to come back at me up the hill? No, not quite, he's quite far away. This is a lap later though, lap 8, make a bit of a mistake going wide on the exit of Graham Hill Bend, easy to do. And well, sliding onto the grass, just about keeping the position ahead of him as we now go into turn 4. But no, he's just going to run me off the track. Very polite indeed. So that's our 3rd excursion off of the circuit. Very nice indeed. This race really isn't quite going my way. Still, I was going to say still in 6th, but now down to 7th. So at the end of this lap we have a pit stop to do. Exactly halfway through the race. 16 divided by 2 equals 8. There we go, there's our quick maths lesson of the day. As we now go down the dip and then back up the hill into Sheen Curve. Definitely the most difficult corner on this track, I think, to get consistently right. Very easy to make mistakes through there. Got a blind entry, and it kind of narrows up on the exit. So then it's sitting in 7th. I mean, it could be worse given that I've been off the track 3 times. This guy decides not to pit, so that could be a big mistake. We'll see. Into the pit lane we go. 20% of fuel still left, so we only really need 80% for the second half of the race. And off we go. Good work from the Porsche boys, although pretty much everyone in the race is driving a Porsche. And I do think, well, I don't think, I know that all the pit stops are pretty much equal. Just depends on how much fuel you put in. Or if you don't press the change tyre button, you might just sit there for a while. So then, sitting now in 7th, we've basically got to set a good lap here, as we just had a look there at the leaderboard. You want to look at the Werta 87 guy, the Spaniard, who punted us wide going down the hill. I think it was lap 2. He quite interestingly decided to pit this lap, so a lap later, and he actually maintained the lead as a result. So he was kind of lurking around about 3rd, 4th, but then he comes out in 2nd. Actually, no, comes out in 1st. So you still see his 1st place there, which is quite interesting. We're trying to beat the South African, who rudely went past us about a lap or 2 ago. So where is he going to be? There he is, just coming out of the pit lane, and he's going to get a slow run through Graham Hill Bend, and I'm going to sweep around the outside, up the hill, past him into 6th place. I'm going to take back my rightful position, and now the quest is on to try to catch up with 5th, 4th and 3rd if we can. Get some positions out of this race. We've still got a fair few laps remaining. The gap there just under 9 seconds to Drumman, who sits in 5th just ahead of us. I've got a back marker ahead, but we don't have to worry about him. So this is always going to be the kind of time of the race where you're going to get a fast lap. So we're going to try to absolutely maximise our grip here. You can see another purple sector. Currently the guy in 2nd has the fastest lap, the Spaniard in 2nd. I'm going to try and go and beat that as we now come through Sheen Curve. Crucial corner on the lap, and we've gone fairly conservative, but we're taking it for quite nicely, quite smoothly. And we've got another purple sector, it's looking good. So you've only got really 1 or 2 laps, or maybe 3 or 4 laps on each race to really maximise your fastest lap, as your tyres then begin to drop off at the end of each stint. So we've got to maximise these laps. And there we go, 1:12.6. We are now the fastest person on the circuit. So we're going to try to reel in these guys. The German has just now pitted, so I've gone up into 5th. The gap down to 7.7 seconds, so we've gained about a second on that lap. Gap now down to 4 seconds on lap 14 at the beginning of it, and now at the end of it, as we begin lap 15, gap below 2 seconds. In fact, we can see them. We have a visual reference. The Croatian here in 4th, immediately ahead of us, and then the Brit Drumman with a penalty, quite crucially, in 3rd. We could beat him even if we've actually crossed the line behind him. Although he's made a mistake there and he's got rid of his penalty. Perhaps getting tangled up with that back marker. The Croatian also getting all out of shape, and he gets a penalty. And now this Spanish guy has come to join the party. He's made a mistake somewhere. So now we have a 4-way battle for 2nd in the last lap and a half. Quite how that has developed, I do not know, but it does show you that you should never give up, even if you have been punted off the track or you make load of mistakes. Just try to carry on. Don't kill your sportsmanship rating or driver rating by quitting. I've learned that lesson. Stay in the race, you never know what you might get. As we now have a chance of 2nd, the Spaniard may well get a move on here. Try to pull away. He has been quick, although I am technically the quickest person on the circuit, judging by the fastest lap. Although it's now a matter of trying to manage the car with far worse tyres. As you can see, the front left has worn by about 50% as I go wide into turn 1, down the dip, back up the hill. Can we go about at least getting on that podium? That would be very nice, as I get very close to hitting Drumman in the rear end, just about avoiding contact on the run into Druids. Now the left of Graham Hill bend, trying to get a good exit here. He runs 2 wheels wide, almost spins off. I'm up the inside into Surtees, get the job done. A little bit scruffy over the curb, but the job is done. I'm up into 3rd place, and he has only half a lap now to try to reply before I'm going to finish in 3rd place or 2nd. If the Spaniard ahead makes some sort of big mistake, he doesn't have a penalty, so I can't beat him on that merit. It's going to have to be him absolutely ballsing it up with a couple of corners remaining, or if I can just set an absolute scintillating world record pace from here to the end, which is pretty much not going to happen. Now coming through the 2nd to last corner, I have a brief look behind, and there's no one there. I think they've all made mistakes. I think the pressure got to them, or perhaps they ran into each other, the Croatian and the Brit. I almost make a mistake there, running wide on the exit, very easy to do. But I'm going to finish in 3rd place, which is where I started. Not too bad in the end. Can't be too displeased with that result, I don't think, in the end. And Virtas there, interestingly, taking a different kind of strategy and still finishing about 6 seconds ahead. So he did very well at the end there. Perhaps taking on a lot less fuel and fuel saving a lot more, I'm not sure, but he did very well. Finishing 3rd with a faster lap, so not too bad overall. Now I'm going to move to this race. This is the FIA Manufacturer Series. I showed you the previous race around the Tokyo Expressway, which was a really good race. Do check that out if you haven't watched it already. It's called the Ultimate Slipstreaming Battle on Gran Turismo Sport, and that was a really good race right down to the wire. But now this is a little bit different. You can see here Dragon Trail Gardens, one of my favourite circuits actually in Group 4. Backing off on the first qualifying lap, so this is the 10 minutes of qualifying. Setting our fastest, or setting our first lap here. So we're about to cross the line. Where is that going to put us? 1st place by half a second. That's good news. But quite crucially on these qualifying sessions, there is a bit of strategy involved. So we're going to go around the next lap, and then we have enough time here to dive into the pits and take on new tyres. So this is going to give us better grip at the end for our final lap. Basically, we're not going to fuel. We want less fuel in the car, so the car is going to weigh less and therefore go faster. But we do want the new tyres so that we have more grip. So we're going to go around the out lap. The only disadvantage to this method is that you get 2 less laps because you have to do an in and out lap, but you do have better rubber. So quite crucially here on this out lap, just setting it to 3, the brake bias, to really preserve our front tyres, and then putting it down to 0 again when we're actually going to set our fastest lap now. So currently sitting just about in 1st place by 0.016. This is going to be our fastest lap. Let's see how we do. Now this may be foreshadowing what's going to happen in the race, because the fact that I'm showing so much qualifying probably tells you how good the race is going to be. So through the first chicane, just trying to avoid the red curb. If your wheels touch those red curbs, then your car bounces up quite a lot and you lose a bit of time. So you definitely want to go either side of it with your tyres. Setting the fastest purple sector there through the first sector, braking about 125 metres before this hairpin. Again on the accelerator, on the apex pretty much, as we then get away into the technical section here at Dragon Trail Gardens. So getting as far over to the left as you can before this right-hander, and again getting over to the right before this left-hander. And it actually opens up quite a lot on the exit. You can go quite wide, as long as you get 2 wheels on that curb and you're okay. A second split there, still purple, just about over a minute to get to that point. Then we've got the long quadruple apex corner here, as you now run up towards the final turn of the lap. So we're still monitoring the board there on the left hand side, but I've just seen that someone else has gone quicker. You don't want to look at that too much because you're going to miss your braking zone. But on the exit now we can have a look as we're on the straight, and I think the Dutchman there has gone just about 2 tenths quicker. Let's see if we can beat that though. Across the line, there we go, a quarter of a second faster. We set the quickest lap so far. So I think that new rubber, that pit stop strategy, has helped there. So that is something you can consider doing. So cue the inspirational music, and well, enough of that. Let's start the race, and away we go. So sitting on pole position, of course, we just watched all of the qualifying. Hitman in the Lamborghini. I fear that he had a bit of a run on me, as it seemed to always happen. It always seems that when you're at the front, everyone behind just seems to get a massive run on you at the beginning of these races. So just cover him off slightly, braking on the 100 board into the chicane here, just grazing the curb. You have to be really patient for this second apex to really give yourself a good run through this third apex of this chicane. And through there okay. Looking behind already, you can see the gap already increasing to over a second. That is what we want to see. We want to see these guys fighting it out with each other, whereas I get a clear run, I can just pull away uninterrupted into the hairpin, a little bit deep, miss the apex, but you can still go to the throttle quite early, pull away, gap still over a second, 1.2 now, into the technical area of the circuit. So really just trying to nail the lap. You're just trying to, I always think back to Sebastian Vettel, 2011, when he was driving the Red Bull. He would just absolutely nail the first lap, so that by the time the DRS came in, he wasn't within range, you just couldn't keep up with him, and he was just gone after that first lap. So you're just really trying to really nail lap 1 and really put the fear into your opponents, as they really get they just get demoralised basically. If you can do that, you can beat them psychologically and mentally, and that's half the game done. So through the final corner, on the power a little bit early, have to back up slightly, but through there okay. Gap up to 1.5, 1.6, you see there, just opening up. A couple of guys have got penalties. This is about as big as the gap got on lap 5, during the first stint at least, up to about 3 seconds. So a fairly static race, just the gap opening up slightly. And then by the end of the stint, so a 14 lap race, at the end of lap 7, we decide to go into the pit lane exactly halfway into the race. Interestingly, the Dutchman actually opts to stay out, which could work, because you have newer rubber for that entire second stint, and well, we'll see if it works basically in a moment as we then flash forward. So now he is in the pit lane. Am I going to come back out ahead of him, or is he going to come back out ahead of me, is what I meant to say. And well, we drive past the pit lane exit and there's no one there, so I've gained a little bit of time there. So we can actually have a look at the gap. It's actually increased now to 4.8, so he's lost maybe 3 seconds. It was about 1.8 before I pitted, so he's lost quite a few seconds there as a result of going 1 lap too long maybe. And well, at the end of the race, it was quite comfortable, gap up to 7 seconds, and I'm going to win an FIA Manufacturer Series race. Yes, it's only a B rated race, I didn't get a huge amount of points, but still, a victory is a victory, and it was quite a convincing one in the end. And I was going to bring you into this entire race, but to be honest, not much happened, but I thought I'd bring it to you anyway in a sort of cut down state. So there we go. There are the results. 7 seconds ahead of the Dutchman in the Lamborghini. And yeah, the Nissan actually going very strong around there. Z28 giving me some advice around here, saying that this car is very strong, and he was absolutely correct. He was actually really good around here. So here we go, the nice little animation where you win the FIA race. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video as always, guys. Do let me know your thoughts. Subscribe for more of the same. And if you did enjoy the video, please do hit that like button. That always helps. So there we go. Pole position, fastest lap, and a race win. That's my 24th win on Gran Turismo Sport. Good times indeed. Thank you for watching as always, guys. See you next time. Goodbye.